In most inshore saltwater applications, we're going to use something called a wind-on leader. And what the wind-on portion of that means is you're reeling it through the guides. We're basically doing that because we want to add a clear piece to our braid so that fish, especially spooky fish like snook, redfish, bonefish, and tarpon, don't see the colored braid in the water. So how I'm going to accomplish that is I'm going to tie a loop called a spider hitch in my braid. I'm going to go through that loop 5 times. Many people think you need to do a bimini twist and braid. And unlike monofilament, where a bimini twist becomes 100% knot, it does not add any integrity to braided line. So you do not need to do a bimini twist there. So I'll do a spider hitch, trim it off tight. And because the first portion of the leader is going to be the part that I'm going to wind through the guides, I want it to be a fairly limp, soft monofilament. So it comes in and out of the guides when I cast. It goes out well. When I retrieve the bait, it comes in well. I'm going to use a 20-pound soft monofilament. Depending on the application, I'm rigging this to fish in the mangroves, so roughly 3.5 feet of 20-pound. I'm going to attach that to that loop that I created in my braid with a knot called a no-name knot. I'm basically going to take the end of that loop, stick my tag in through it, wrap the tag in 7 times, and then take my tag in and go right back through the initial part of the loop that I started from. As I start to snug it up, I'm going to wet it, cinch it down tight. A very, very small, nice knot. Goes in and out of the guides well. I'm going to trim it off tight because this is the portion that's going to travel in and out of the guides the most with repetition type casting. Now, because I'm going to use this outfit for snook, maybe tarpon, I need something bigger than 20 pounds for a bite tippet. Something I want to attach my bait to so the fish doesn't abrade through the monofilament. In this scenario for snook, I'm going to use 40 pounds. I'm going to use a small plug. It's just a little Rapala bait, very light bait. So I'm not going to use fluorocarbon. If I was going to use a sinking bait, like a fluke or a jig, I may use fluorocarbon in this situation. But using fluorocarbon with a very, very small plug like that can actually affect the action. The reason for that is fluorocarbon is 3 times denser, it's 3 times heavier than monofilament. So I'm going to take my 20 pound that I've already tied onto the braid and just attach about 10-12 inches of 40 pound mono with a blood knot. Always wet your knots before you seat them. I'm going to trim that off tight. So I have about 3.5 feet of 20, about 10-12 inches of 40. Now I'm ready to tie my bait on. Most baits I prefer to tie on with a loop. Tie an overhand knot in the end of my 40. Leave myself about 1.5 inches of tag. Go through the eyelet of the bait. Bring that overhand right up to the eyelet. Pinch it off. Make 1.5 turns with my tag end and go right back through the overhand that I initially created. And I'm going to pull that tag end down to make that loop as small as possible. Again, I'm going to wet it. I'm going to seat it and allow that bait to have plenty of action. That's my basic inshore setup for an inshore saltwater setting. Whether I'm snook fishing, small tarpon, medium tarpon, redfish, anything that I need a leader for, that's how I'm going to rig it. My 20 pounds is going to come right through the guides well. It's going to cast well in and out. And the 40 isn't so long, that's going to hinder my casting accuracy. Pick the 3 or 4 knots that I've shown you how to tie, learn how to tie them well in daylight or dark, and you won't lose that fish of a lifetime.